is it then?
Hello, where are you going?
Well, I'm going to Knock. Where are you going?
I'm going to Knock.
What a stroke
Are you
of luck.
looking left here?
I'm looking for anything that gets me out of this
Why
rain.
did you just come into Knock Airport?
did.
Oh my goodness.
Have you got a spare seat?
Are you glad to
Yes, come on.
Well, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much. It's good this. I always thought pilgrimages were, you know, quiet, sedate things.
No. Oh,
You come on the bus, and I've got an Everton mint already. And this jolly bus. Where are you from?
Belfast.
Belfast.
Oh, yeah.
And do you do this journey often to Knock?
Once a year.
It's down in Connor Diocese, and we always join them every year, every June.
And what do you do when you get there?
Sunday in June. Well, we take part in the ceremonies and do our own thing for a bit and come back into Sligo for our tea tonight.
It seems it's nearly all women. There's one chap behind you. That's about all
We'll
right.
have three chaps on the bus
Three?
and two little boys.
Why all women?
It's just women are better than men.
Now, I'm just an ordinary Church of England Anglican. Now, what's special about Our Lady?
She's the Mother of God, and we believe that, and we believe that she's really powerful. Like, I mean, if your mother wanted something, you do it for her, don't you? Well, he does it for her.
I'm still not quite sure why you don't just pray sort of straight to God directly.
It's just through her. It's just devotion. You know, it's not that you're taken away from him and giving it to her.
Oh, gentle chaste and spotless maid, we sinners make our prayers to thee.
Over 1.25 million people offer their prayers and petitions through the Virgin Mary at this shrine each year. Knock isn't what you'd call a beauty spot, but between April and October, pilgrims come in droves to this tiny village in County Mayo because they believe that 100 years ago, the Mother of Christ appeared here. It was about 8 o'clock in the evening of the 21st of August in 1879, when some local women were passing by the church and saw several figures bathed in light standing near the gable wall. The central figure was recognised as that of the Virgin Mary. The apparition lasted 2 hours. The local bishop said it was a great blessing to the poor people of the west of Ireland that the Virgin Mother of God had appeared to them. And since then, the pilgrims have come to Knock in such numbers that the main ceremonies have moved to a new, purpose-built basilica.
A lot of people when they come here can be very real. You know, normally we have to wear a facade and life is gone swinging and all the rest of it. But once you put your foot inside the gates, you're declaring, I'm coming here for a reason. Some come because they want to offer thanksgiving, but the bulk of people come because they've got a load, they're troubled, either in their own lives or there are people that they love. And they want to be where they can be open about that and pray about that. So I think it's a place where people find, I can be honest, I can be myself, I can pray, and nobody's going to say that I'm strange.
I was intrigued with the amount of ritual. It really took over the whole thing. It was very ritualistic.
I think if we come down through the Jewish religion down to the Christian times, I always feel that somehow that Jesus is God expressing himself ritually, you know, the Word made flesh. Jesus used things, he used spittle, he used mud, he used bread, he used fish, he used water, he used wine. I think the Christian religion is a religion of things, which is another way of saying it's a ritual religion. Now, the real problem would be if we thought that that was all there was to it. I think if you take a close look at what happens here at Knock, you see statues being carried around. Now, if you just looked at the things, you might have worries. But if you hear the prayers that go with them, always the prayer is to the God of creation, never to the object of creation. You know, it is about God, but since we are human, since we are ritual beings, we need things to help us.
Do you ever yourself think, oh, are we getting too fond of this thing, of the host or of the rosary or whatever, that it sounds that you're conscious of the fact that you could go too far down that path?
Of course you could. Now, I'd make a huge distinction between the two things you mentioned there, between the rosary and the host. Let's take the host, the Blessed Sacrament, first of all. Roman Catholic belief is that Christ is present in the host. That is a central point. If you take the rosary itself that you mentioned there, while we hear prayers being repeated, again, if you listen closely, the rosary is broken up into sections, and each one of those sections is about Christ, not about necessarily about Mary.
The second mystery, the ascension of our Lord. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
So the rosary is Christ-centred, it is gospel-centred. I think that that kind of repetition and that richness is very much part of pilgrimage.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed
The constant repetition, the constant physical side of the pilgrimage has this peculiar effect of emptying you. It throws away all the scaffolding, all the superficialities with which we block out the truth about ourselves. There is nowhere to hide, and they begin to find out things about themselves, particularly their weaknesses. And that's why many a time, when the ceremonies are all over, that's when an awful lot of people feel an urge to go to the sacrament of penance. The process has taken away the camouflage, and they find themselves open.
I've been watching people come down here all afternoon with bottles, filling them up from the most wonderful bit of carving, even a stone button, and out comes presumably holy water.
Indeed. Holy water is an important part of the pilgrims' visit to Lough. They've been associated with holy water from the time they're baptised.
What makes the water holy?
The water is blessed by a priest each week. It's straight from a tank, actually.
Do you get people expecting great cures from holy water?
No, holy water is part of the everyday life of most Catholics. Holy water will be found in a small porcelain font inside the door of most Catholic homes. And on entering and leaving the house, they will bless themselves.
So Lough is always replete with water, whether it's from the heavens or from the tap?
Absolutely. Well, even on the day of the apparition here in 1879, it rained quite heavily. So you can always associate rain and water with Lough.
The first thing most people will do when they come to Lough is they go straight down to the Chapel of Reconciliation for confessions. I have an ordinary Sunday during the summer, and there will be 2,500 or 3,000 confessions heard.
Why is Lough then so popular for confession? Is it because it's divorced from people's real lives and they feel it easier to open up when they come here?
Probably yes. Maybe it is that the Irish have more sinful than others. I don't know. No, I think really it goes back to faith. I think really. You know what our Lord said in the Gospel? That He said, if you are offering your gift at the altar and there you remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there at the altar and go and be reconciled with your brother, and then come and offer your gift. When they go to confessional, there's a huge number of people waiting outside the confessional room. It's very difficult for a priest to talk through a problem with the penitent at that time.
Darling, your heart out to confess your sins with true sorrow.
And he can refer the penitent to a counsellor if he feels that he or she would be able to help. And they come with all sorts of problems, really, you know, family problems, marriage problems. They can be very broken, and they simply want to talk to somebody and get some little bit of comfort and consolation and hope for the future.
Christ be beside me, Christ be before me, Christ be behind me, King of my heart. Christ be within me, Christ be below me, Christ be above me, never to part. Christ on my right, around me, shield in the strife. Christ in my sleeping, Christ in my sitting, Christ in my rising.